There's a huge transfer of wealth taking place, dear ones. And we would suggest to you that very few of those that we are talking to right now are going to gain any advantage from that dynamic. So we're here to talk to you today about possible things that you can do as alternatives to begin to create a different... we're not here to just gloom and doom, but we are here to metaphysically slap you a bit about the head and shoulders. Because it's time that you wake up and realize what's actually occurring here before it's too late for you. If you get to the point where you're starting to get hungry, kiddos, you haven't spoken up enough. You haven't protested enough. You haven't allowed your voice to be heard. This is turning into an economic and a class dynamic, and it's going to transcend the political parties. But we wish to tell you, as long as you keep fighting in this sort of partisan way, they're going to gain more and more and more power over you. You have to decide the great question that's being asked of America and most Western countries that believe in a certain dynamic of freedom. The big thing that you're being asked right now is, do you believe in that? Or are you willing to be moved into a passive fascist state where the governments and the powers that be govern your life in all ways, shapes, or forms, where there is no privacy? No privacy.
Well, the things that they're considering instituting as far as keeping track of people.
Voluntary RFID chips, involuntary vaccinations, They're saying, well, we're only going to isolate those that are at risk. Well, this one is 73 years old, and if he falls into the and has pre-existing conditions, they're going to quarantine him and force him to not go out? How's he going to? How's this one going to respond to that?
Not well. Not well.
Right, and how many of you out there that we speak to right now? Would it be the same thing? You are alive, you are vibrant, you are in your 70s, you're healthy, you're in your 80s. You're all going to die of something.
Well, it's a question of people believing that they can be responsible for themselves too.
Well, it's also a dynamic of where did all the fear come from? People weren't always this afraid of dying. What is it that they, and we mean that's a small t, what is it that they have taught you that have made you so afraid of the very natural dynamic of living and dying? Well, who told you that God is going to judge you? Do you really believe that you're going to rot in hell? Obviously not, because if you believed you were going to rot in hell, then your behavior would be better toward each other.
No, I sort of trace it back to the concept that came out in the 60s and early 70s that God was dead.
Well, how many of you ever really believed that? Maybe more so than you believe, but we're not even talking about the dynamic of God, because the problem is you outgrew your idea of God. Because we have often said that you have a 2,000-year-old idea of the divine all the way back to Jesus. That was the last time there was an upgrade. Okay, as far as the template of morality, the template of proper living. That was last time it was updated in a divine sort of way. And so if you understand that and you take that, then you have had a 2,000-year-old idea. And of course, at a certain point, probably after about 1,500 years, the concept of the divine no longer fit in with who you were as individuals, who you were as a people. And so what this dynamic is occurring right now is you will, and those of you that are seeking spirit, those of you that are seeking to fill that empty spot, you will find that spot in your heart if you look. If you look. But most of you are afraid to look because you're afraid of being judged. You know, that's why so many of you will not go to a channel, because we think that we read your minds and we know all your secrets. And even though we do, it is we're discreet.
Certainly. Yes.
Well, what would be the purpose? Why should we punish you, dear ones? You punish yourselves so well already.
Right.
And if you're not punishing yourself, you're punishing each other.
Well, that seems to be the two-way split for a lot of emotional energy that wants to blame because we're scared.
Well, but that's the point. But you're scared because you're ignorant, not because you're stupid. You're scared because you're ignorant. You're scared because the dynamic ultimately is going to totally move you out of the status quo, move you out of the dynamics of your complacency, move you away from a dynamic of disempowerment to one where it depends on your personal situation, but each of you are going to go through major and fundamental changes in the next year.